Hi everybody and welcome to Poland Daily Travel, where in the next series of episodes we'll be traveling along the royal route. That's right, the Tract Królewski in beautiful Warsaw. We'll be starting in the historic Old Town at the Cathedral of St. John. Then I'll be walking and talking with my friend Artur Gorniewski as we proceed south along Krakowskie Przedmieście to the center of the city. You'll get to know the landmarks and historical places of interest that are most essential along the royal route. So stay with us. You won't find anything this comprehensive anywhere else. Poland Daily Travel walks and talks along the royal route. Hi. We're here with Poland Daily Travel in front of the cathedral in Warsaw. This is one of the most important churches in Poland, along with Częstochowa Church and the church in Krakow, St. Mary's. We're going to go inside and meet a friend of mine called Arthur. And Arthur is going to explain to us exactly what the history is here. So let's go in and meet him. Okay? Let's go. Okay, we're back, and we're here in the main hall of the cathedral in the Old Town. And with me, to tell us a little bit about where we are and introduce us to the subject, is Arthur. Arthur, tell us some of the relevant and important facts about this cathedral.
Of course, Will.
Yeah.
The place that we are standing in at the moment is St. John's Archicathedral. That's first most important church in Warsaw, constructed in 1370, 14th century. The church that soon became the most important church of a city that became our capital. So that's what we know. Poland moved the capital from Krakow to Warsaw, and what was extraordinary thing about our kingdom is the fact that we were electing our kings in a democratic way. So when there are elections, there are candidates. When there are candidates, there are promises. And after the candidate was elected, he had to sign his promises, called Pacta Conventa, what I will do for society, what I promised in the campaign, I will really do it. And then the kings kneeling in this church were signing this very important document, and then later on they had to accomplish what they promised, which represents the fact that the Church of St. John's is not only about our religious history, but it's also about our secular history. And that's why flags that we can see above our heads are representing to our military history, and these are regular flags of Poland throughout the centuries. Current flag, current colors, white and red, were adopted in 1792. That was an anniversary, that was the first anniversary of the moment when Poland adopted its constitution. But previously, Polish flag was consisting an eagle, that's symbolizing Poland, and Lithuania, represented by a rider, and this combination is represented on the flags above our heads.
Okay, and this is from the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, which existed from, do you remember the time period it existed?
Yes, of course.
What was that?
First King's elections in 1572.
Okay.
So that was the first moment when Polish and Lithuanian nobles were voting who shall be the first king of Poland. And then Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth lost the independence in 1795.
Right, so it's a later Elizabethan time, or beginning of Elizabethan time, yeah. And how long did it last, Arthur, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth?
So we are having these two most important moments. First, we are having personal union in 14th century when a Polish queen marries Lithuanian duke, which enables Lithuania to become a Christian Catholic country and becomes the part of the Commonwealth. It raises political status of Lithuania, but it also develops border of Poland, called Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth since that moment on. But then we, after another 2 centuries, we made our union stronger. We made our union the real union, and the proper document was signed in Lublin in 1569. And we decided over then that every latter king will be elected in a democratic way. So no more monarchy on blood, but since that moment on, our rulers were elected in a democratic way. But Vilnius, capital of Lithuania, pretty far away for us, but Krakow, our capital, pretty far away for them.
Absolutely.
It's 3 months journey on a horse. So they were supposed to vote in a democratic way, and they decided to
How many? 3 months?
From Krakow to Vilnius, it's 3 months journey.
On a horse?
On a horse.
Wow.
Well, no cars in these days, or no Skype. And that's why...
There's no Skype. You couldn't,
Not over then.
No, there was no Skype 10 years ago.
Sort of. Such comparison helps us understand that they really had to come to one place. And that's why they decided to come to the central section of the country, which was Warsaw.
Okay.
And that's why Warsaw, that's why this church, that's why kings' elections were taking place in here, and that's why kings were signing their documents right in here. First, king was elected in here, but was working in Krakow, so that was pretty inconvenient. The third elected king decided to move himself from Krakow to Warsaw, as we call him, the person who moved the capital from Krakow to Warsaw, King Sigismund Vasa III. The funny thing in our history...
He's the guy with the column, the famous column, the Sigismund column, right?
Exactly.
That everybody who comes to Warsaw probably sees that event at some point.
The famous meeting point for Warsawians, King Sigismund's column.
Yeah. Meet you at the column.
Meet you at the column, exactly. First secular sculpture in Europe, by the way.
I didn't know that.
Till that moment, you could sculpture only church-connected people, saints, or popes. But secular sculpture, you couldn't sculpture yourself a poem writer. You couldn't sculpture yourself a king just because you wanted to. And that's why King Sigismund's column is also equipped with a very big cross that he is holding in his hands.
That's right. At the top, you can see him with a cross.
1644, first secular sculpture. And these are amazing moments of Polish history. This is when Poland prevailed in this part of the world. This is the moment when people were emigrating from many European countries, particularly to Poland. That was a moment when having Polish passport was giving you safety.
Was it a passport, or what was it? They didn't have a passport, actually. What did they have?
They were having
some kind of notes, letter?
Exactly. They were having a document confirming coming from particular state, and particular identity helped them, for instance, not being chased by Inquisition. Of these days. Polish kings, pretty relaxed. No matter how you pray, just pay taxes. Make many Jewish families emigrating to this particular country.
This was a big time for that. So just to put it in perspective for people, what we're talking about is that the same time England was establishing the colonies, because it was just England then, was establishing the colonies which became the United States, 1600s. Poland was the biggest, most powerful empire in Europe, perhaps.
1 million square kilometers, twice as big as nowadays Texas.
Right.
A country that was spread...
Twice as big as Texas.
Exactly.
Now. Yeah. It's extraordinary, isn't it? It seems so. Because of the partitions, this part of history seems lost and I think very confusing to the modern mind.
Perfect statement, and you are 100% correct. What we nowadays know, recall, remember, about Poland is World War II, is communism, and nowadays economical situation in here gets better. But it's just going back on the track. It's just going back to the moment when Poland was before. Once upon a time, Nikolai Copernicus' parents emigrate from Prussia to Poland, so that Nikolai Copernicus says the Earth planet goes around the sun, and he's not killed by the Inquisition. 80 years later, Galileo
got in a lot of trouble.
Invents telescope, so now he can see, he can confirm.
But he got in trouble. Galileo from the church.
Correct. Yes, he was imprisoned, he was tortured, he was killed eventually, and before he died, he had to say that everything what he claimed before was wrong.
Right.
Poland and the Commonwealth was protecting its borders. We are having a huge and flat country, very fertile soils.
It is extremely good for growing things, but as we even see today, because Polish agriculture and cattle farming is very is prevalent and one of the main places in Europe, I guess you could say. But at the same time, it's easy to invade, which brings us to the Constitution. You were going to tell us something about, there's a memorial there dedicated to the Constitution. Shall we walk? Let's walk over there. Come on. Yeah. A nation without history, without a past. It found itself homeless. A nation without a future. Cardinal Stefan Wyszynski.